Philly.500 is running a little bit behind here. Winston threw for 497 yards and lost. Who cares? No shit. Who said that Jameis Winston was good? I didn't. If I were Cleveland, I'd keep his ass. Their alternative is a guy who's worse. Holy cow. What in the world has that guy done more than Jalen Hurts? He's been to 2 NFC title games. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's a prolific passer from the pocket, and I'm not even a golf fan. I hate to have to qualify and justify my takes. You know what? I'm not going to stop because I'm not talking to idiots who live in a fucking gutter for this kid here. It drives me crazy. Both teams are good. All right. Now we have to do this. I guarantee you this is the land of, hope. And there's hope at 5-7. And then there's my boy, Philly.500, who at the end of the day, I've never seen a guy who's won as much where every coach hates us. Everybody hates this guy. Okay? We even had Brian Westbrook on with us a couple minutes ago, and he didn't give him a big-time endorsement. All that being said, it is always great to get the battle royale. We love it. And we love these two guys. Mark, Hope, Holmes, and the legendary Philly.500. Philly,
what's happening?
Think Holmes, I think he disconnected because he didn't want to hear you beat his ass up here, man. I think that's what we got going on here.
I'm sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I got home a little late from work, so I apologize,
brother.
But thank you for having me on. I'm here to tell you I'm feeling good. It's been a good day, and where is that moron? I'm sure he's making his playoff shirts right now as we speak. There he is.
Mark, are you making playoffs? Are you making playoffs?
All he talks about is the playoffs. That's all he talks about.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
He don't want the playoffs.
Me? Playoffs?
That's an embarrassment. You imagine if the Eagles are the 2 seed and Dallas squeaks into the playoffs, guess who Dallas has got to go play? Good night.
The Eagles.
You're going to have to deal with that all season.
If the Cowboys were lucky enough to win that much and make the playoffs, I would actually be happy to play the Eagles because we have some success against the Eagles on a regular basis.
Ain't gonna happen.
I'm just saying, 49ers, they own our ass in the playoffs, okay? Yeah, in recent history. Green Bay, they own our ass. But Eagles, you haven't swept us since 2012. I'm just saying.
That's about another few weeks.
I'm sitting over here with a 3% chance of making playoffs. At this point, I'm just hoping that we can at least get one more win so I can say, Dan, you were wrong about us only being a 5-win team. But I mean, that's all I got these days.
I tell you what, Dallas, after watching that Thanksgiving Day game, which I think that first half took 2 hours to play. That was that. You look at that game and that quality, and then
that was the labor.
Then you look at the quality game with the Eagles-Ravens. I don't think Dallas could compete. I don't think Dallas should be on the field.
I mean, it's a pipe dream. Okay, it's something to talk about.
Mark, you think you could? Okay, you got Cincinnati.
Yeah, Carolina. Which is not going to be an easy one. Cincinnati.
I think you could win that in Carolina. So there's 2 that puts you at 7-7, and then down the stretch you got Tampa Bay, Philly, and Washington.
6-7. You got 6-7. Then we have Carolina and then Tampa Bay.
Okay. So then you'd be 6-7 heading into that Bucs game?
No, the Carolina game. So we could be 7-7. We could be 7-7 going into the Bucs game.
Okay. With Cooper Rush. So what's the point of making the playoffs?
There really isn't. I mean, quite frankly, although
beautiful.
At this point, what I'm looking at is how can the Cowboys be in the best position to do something in the beginning of next year? And, by hook or by crook, at least some of these young guys are getting some experience. Brock Hoffman is looking actually pretty good and making you think that maybe he might be able to take over for Zach Martin next year. Mozzie Smith, the guy that, you talk about slowly but surely is coming on. 31 tackles right now. 31 tackles. The last 3 games, he has been actually playing well. Rico who? I know. Rico who?
Rico Ricardo.
He's averaging 4.5 yards a carry. And I'm not saying that this is great news or anything like that, but it's a start to say at least we have a few pieces here. And at least I'm not in here every week with a loss and just getting my ass kicked.
Well, Mark, here. So you're saying Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when they had this strike that year, there were people that filled in for the players, right? That had good statistics. That didn't mean they believed on the field. They didn't belong. That didn't mean they belonged on the field because they had a few good games. The best thing Dallas could do, the best thing Dallas could have done was lose. I'm sorry, but they could have lost. They killed themselves.
You should tank the entire season, Mark.
But tanking doesn't guarantee you that you're going to get great players. Hell, the Jets and the Giants every year drafting in the top 10.
Jerry does a nice job.
But you do a better job, though, right? Drafting.
We do, but drafting isn't our problem.
Yeah. Mark wants to set himself up to be hurt again. I love it.
I just said we got a 3% chance of making the playoffs. I don't think that we're going to. It's great to talk about the different scenarios of things. At least we have something that's relevant to talk about. But I'm not going to sit here and literally, we missed the playoffs.
Wait a minute.
I've already got set in my mind.
Wouldn't you rather have the 5th pick in 7 rounds, the 5th pick in every round, than sitting there hanging around 15 just being average, where you're hanging around that toilet bowl where you're 7-9, you're 6-11, and you're hanging in that room? Mark, in the NFL, I think the either blow out loud or be great.
That's what I think.
I hear what you're saying. And that sounds nice, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Whether I want us to be in the playoffs or whether I want us to have a high draft pick, it's going to be what it's going to be. It's going to fall wherever it falls. And so, it may end up being we lose to Cincinnati, Cincinnati, who's a 5.5-point favorite per Bet US at the moment. It's going to be what it's going to be. And I can look at it and say the Cowboys had the 12th pick and got Micah, and you can look at it and say he was the best pick of everybody in front of him, except maybe Penny Sewell. So you just don't know.
You know what talking Cowboys is like? It's like picking the 5th ugliest chick in the building to date because there's 5 ugly chicks. And I have to pick one of the lesser ugly bitches in the room for me to sit there and have a date. It really is. It become nauseating for you, and I'm feeling sorry for it.
What do you think it is for me to have to come through and
Mark, I have to ask you seriously here. Just all shits and giggles here.
There's no giggles here. There's no giggles.
When you are putting content together, what's the number one place you go for Dallas Cowboy content? What's the thing you post? And what is the thing you say that will help you turn this whole thing around?
There is no turning this thing around as long as Jerry and Stephen Jones are running this thing.
And you're in a bad marriage.
Believe me, an abusive marriage. You didn't know that? We're in an abusive relationship.
Yeah, but you're getting your ass kicked every night.
There ain't no bandwagon, bro. This is just a beat up jalopy in the gutter.
All right. Let me get over to Philly.
We Catholics call it purgatory. They're in purgatory.
Purgatory would be nice right now.
Catholics. Yes, Mark. Us Catholics. Hey.
I meant me.
Hey, Philly. Do you have any concerns? Your passing game is 28th in the NFL right now. And on top of that, you are actually averaging more rushing yards of any of the contending teams. It's the only, I've never seen it before, where the offense is running through one guy and it's not the quarterback in today's NFL. That offense is running through the running back. And when you look at Detroit, here, let me just give you what they've done this year. They're 5th in passing, 4th in rushing, and number 1 in scoring. You're 4th in total offense. You're 28th in passing. You're 1st in rushing, and you're 7th in scoring. Do you truly believe you have a better offense in Detroit?
I think the Eagles maybe not not in a passing game type of way, but I think the Eagles have a better team than Detroit, and we're going to find out. I think that the ranked 28th, that talk, I think it's overrated, because the reason why the Eagles are 28th isn't because Jalen Hurts is failing to be a passer. It's because you have a running back that is doing something that possibly nobody has ever done. How can you say, yeah, well, you know what? We need to have Jalen Hurts throw 30, 40 times when you have Saquon Barkley running the ball? I mean, it would be criminal, in my opinion. So the factors are this. I just think it works out because of your running game being so good. I don't think it's a negative.
How about this then? Don't you think the first quarter is an indictment of how, get this, it's littered with passing plays. When they realize they get 3 and outs and they can't throw the ball, they're either behind or they're behind the sticks. Then they go back to running. Don't you see that they're trying to throw the ball in the first quarter? They realize they can't. That's when they go back to the running, because what would you think would be the number one issue on why the first quarter is they're the worst first quarter team in pro football? Why?
Well, I think, look, I don't know I honestly don't know who's at fault when it comes to that, but I do know this.
Nick.
Well, I do too, but I can't prove it. But if you go back and you listen to what he said previous years, he said, I like to throw the ball early and run late. That was kind of his philosophy. I think they try to do it. But here's the thing. When they come out and they're not running the ball well, or they're not throwing the ball well, and they're not using Barkley, I think a lot of it is predictability. Everybody knows every week that they're going to come out and try to throw. They don't come out and try to establish the run early. They come out and try to throw, and everybody knows it. That's why, I think once the adjustments are made, they play really good. If you take that first quarter out of that 28th ranked offense stuff, right, the passing game, you take that first quarter out, where would they be ranked? I don't know, but I would love to know, because I think it's really, really high. I think that first quarter really hurts statistically the Eagles in that regard.
I'm going to let Mark comment on this one as well, but I want to ask you, and if you agree or disagree, I think Kellen Moore hasn't brought Dick to the offense. And here's why. Barkley improved it. That's Howie. By adding him, if the passing game has not improved, he was brought in to improve the passing game. It is not improved. The only thing that is improved, and now they're even running RPOs at a 20% clip now in the games. They've implemented it. Do you know, since the bye, they are running the RPO at 22% more than any other team in the league right now, which means they're trying to get back to 22. Hey, guess what? I'm okay with that, because that's who that kid is. But at the end of the day here, that's not what they're trying to do. They're not trying to be a balanced offense. They're trying to be more of a rushing offense here. So Kellen Moore has not improved the pass game. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree 100%. And here's what I'll say as far as being one-dimensional like that. Stop shaking it up. When anybody doesn't agree with you, you just, you're poo-pooing it. But think about Adrian Peterson.
Why I'm laughing.
No, hold on. Think about how good Adrian Peterson was with Minnesota. How much success did they have in the playoffs? How much success did the Tennessee Titans have with Derrick Henry in the playoffs? Not a lot. And that's where you look at this and say, what if Barkley does get nicked up?
Or even Dickerson.
Yeah. Then what happens to this team? I would love to have a situation where my quarterback only had to throw 19 passes and complete 11 to win a game against Baltimore. So I think that is the Achilles heel, and starting off slow and not scoring points is definitely a problem. But go ahead, Phil.
I'm trying to hear you.
I'm knocking on wood, because he always brings up, every time we talk about Barkley, he always brings up that word, and I am not dealing with that word of somebody getting hurt.
I will take that word back.
That word.
But being one-dimensional, we have not seen a heavy run-dominated team go to the Super Bowl in recent history. We just have not. We've got good running backs, but not teams that are focused solely on being able to run the football, and that's where you really are going.
Yes. Yes, the Eagles are 4 steps ahead of the rest of the league, right? And they got somebody else who could. When you do what everybody else has to do to win, you're just copying. But the Eagles are setting trends. You watch how many teams next year try to adjust to be more like the Eagles. The fact of the matter is this: I don't think many teams, maybe Detroit, could do what the Eagles do. They have a ridiculously good offensive line. They have a ridiculously good running back. I mean, if you don't,
and an average quarterback,
if you have a winning quarterback, a winner at quarterback, if you don't use these guys, then it's bad coaching. Now, why I left when Mark was talking about Kellen Moore was because I know he was going to say anything he can to be negative towards Moore. But the truth is Moore showing up to be a good coach. I mean, like I said, if Barkley was getting 12 carries a game, people would be losing their minds. It would be criminal. This guy's about to set possibly rushing records. I mean, the fact of the matter is you have to use them, and Moore's recognized that. They even went out and signed a fullback. I don't think we should be sitting there saying, "Oh, Jalen Hurts can't do this, and Moore is not doing a good enough job there." They're doing what they have to do. You like it or not, Barkley is just too valuable to not. You have to use them. And the Eagles are doing the right thing. And I think the coaches are doing the right thing. And Jalen Hurts is fine. I trust Jalen Hurts to win big games. You know, it's funny. He could struggle in the first quarter, but when he has to get that pass on third down, he has to get this team going. He always finds a way to do it. I think he's a winner, and I trust him very much in any situation.
How about this, Mark? I saw you say something about golf. Are you under the impression that Dak Prescott's a better quarterback than Jared Goff?
I'm going to say, here's what I would like to see, okay? Because you can't really compare what one guy is doing with the other. You can't look at Jalen Hurts. See, here's where – no, just listen to me for a second.
Wait a minute. Jared Goff was sent – he was sent to
Jared Goff has done some great things.
He was sent to Detroit to die. He was going to be a stopgap
right, and he was part of turning that team around. But you can look at him and say, that's a great team built around him right now. And when I look at the Eagles, and, no disrespect, Jalen Hurts, they're beating the people that are in front of them. They're doing what is asked of them to do to be winners. I can't complain about what they're doing. But would Jalen Hurts do the same thing if he was in a situation like we are here in Dallas, where you're asked to pass 60 times a game like Cooper Rush? We literally asked Cooper Rush to throw the ball 60
Every time that guy has been asked to pass, he's turned the ball over.
I want you to understand there's a big difference where you can pick and choose and only have to throw 19 passes, and you've got a running back who's eating up yards like crazy on a record pace.
And Mark, do you know why? Do you know why the passing game is open for Jalen?
They're so worried about stopping Barkley.
Barkley's creating – Brian Westbrook said Barkley's creating one-on-ones on the perimeter for AJ, and that slant is undefendable right now, and that's why they go to that more. No, this is where I disagree a little bit here, Philly. I don't believe if that guy throws the ball 37 times, he wins games, because they haven't done that since the bye. And you're right. They are going with what they do to make them successful right now. And that is this. If you can stop it, fine, we're going to get beat. But if you can't stop it, you really think they're just going to flip the switch and all of a sudden you're going to have a 45 passing attempt game and he's going to throw for 350 yards? He hasn't done that in 2 years.
I don't think he will, and I don't think it will ever have to happen. But in the situations that the Eagles are in, if we're talking about specific situations like down 4 with 1:36 left and having to go get a touchdown, I trust Jalen Hurts. I don't trust a Dak Prescott. You want to say what you want about, Dak doesn't have this and that. Dak Prescott does not win in the playoffs. What big game has he gone out and won in the playoffs? The guy lost as a 1 seed. He lost as a 2 seed. But we're going to talk about Hurts, who went out there and arguably in a loss in a Super Bowl on the biggest stage was the MVP. So he showed me.
Did you have a running game in that Super Bowl?
No, we didn't.
You didn't have any. Did you rush more than 50 yards?
We did. I don't think we did. I don't know exactly, but we didn't. But I know this: when we were a 1 seed, Hurts got us to Super Bowl. Where's Dak Prescott? Where's the accountability? We're gonna ride.
Dak Prescott's not even on the field right now. No,
Right. Well, you talk about
listen,
him every
my
video.
hold on. Let's see, you're
You talk
deflecting.
about him every
Hold
video.
on, you're deflecting about your team right now. My
No, I'm
team is not going anywhere. You guys are the ones that are talking about Super Bowls and everything else,
No,
taking on
no,
the lines.
I'm not. What I'm
Well,
what I'm
Mark,
responding-
you got to admit that they're one of the two best teams, and then the
I
other
agree.
two
I
are
agree.
Minnesota and Green Bay.
You know,
what I'm saying is
here's
what
where. Go ahead, son.
No, I was just gonna say what I'm saying is if Jalen Hurts was on the Cowboys, Jalen Hurts does not have that game versus Green Bay in the playoffs. If he has to win certain games, certain situations, he does it. I don't care if he doesn't throw like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen.
What happened to Tampa Bay last year then?
I mean, Sills, that
Or
game,
this year.
we were the Walking Dead. That
Okay.
game. Now, we all knew we were going to lose that game. I mean, come on.
All
That
right.
was a whole team thing.
They shouldn't have got off the bus. That's a fair comment. Let me get to you, Mark.
Wait, let me just add one thing real quick here, because see, there's a lot of games in here where your team has not been able to score a lot of points, and we can talk about the Tampa Bay where it was 33-16, or the Falcons that scored 22, or even the Saints where you only scored 15. You're not exactly a high-scoring offense with a lot of these teams. Sure, you did it with the Bengals, but the Bengals have no defense. When you start playing some of these better teams, when the playoffs and stuff,
You like
defense. Well, I'm going to say even Green Bay again.
Green Bay, okay,
Green
but
Bay,
listen what you're
Detroit.
saying.
Okay, let's
I
put
get
this
Detroit.
way.
I don't see any great teams though, Mark, that they're going to run into in the NFC where they're going to have. Here, I'll take that back. I don't see very many great quarterbacks you're going to run into.
There's not a lot of great ones right here, right now. But you don't know who gets hot in the end.
So get this. They may potentially have to go through Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff to get to the Super Bowl, where over in the AFC side, if you're Josh Allen, you may have to go through Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl. That's a whole different world, dude. Okay, so the Eagles' road to the Super Bowl is way easier, in my opinion. Now, look, I think Detroit and Philly, if you're going to put the rosters, probably have the two best rosters in the league. But I would say this. I mean, the passing game for one of them is suspect, and the other one, the defensive secondary for the Lions, is questionable because they're 28th or 29th. A good passing team could eat that team up. You saw what the Bears did to them on Turkey Day, too. So, again, I think a lot of teams have some flaws here in this. But if you put it all together here, you know, the only area that the Philadelphia Eagles struggle in my opinion, is the passing game. Philly doesn't think it's a struggle. He thinks that they're just rolling down their identity. And they're not, and they can pull that out. Am I wrong, Philly? I don't want to speak for you. And they can pull that passing game out when they need it. That's what you're saying. Even though in 2 years, they haven't done that.
That is my theory.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me ask you this, Mark. Dak Prescott came out today and endorsed Mike McCarthy as the head coach and wants him to come back. Good idea or bad idea?
You know, when I start looking around the NFL and we see all the hot coordinators that were hired, like, you know, Miami's coach and things like that, and you look at that and say, damn, they really failed. You know, that you at least have a known quantity. The thing with Mike McCarthy is if we had the Philadelphia Eagles team and we're not making the playoffs, by all means, I say get rid of the guy. But you can't honestly look and say that the Cowboys literally put the best effort forward. As you guys joke, Rico who? Zeke Elliott? We have no semblance of a running game. We have, you know, one of the youngest teams in the NFL. So I'm not sure that Mike McCarthy got exactly a fair hand to deal with here. And I don't care what you say about the playoffs. Winning 12 games in the NFL is not an easy thing to do.
You're 41-26 to this point over the last 4 years and 12 games, or 3 years, 12 games going in. You're 41-26. Are you going to fire McCarthy and look for someone else? Like reportedly that they're interested in some other guys, but there's also a conversation about a contract extension for McCarthy. Mm-hmm. Would you give him one?
In the end, what you have to realize is it doesn't matter if you bring back Mike McCarthy or if you bring in somebody else. As long as Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones are penny pitching and saying, we can't afford this, we can't afford that. Other teams, they look and they say, go get me that guy. It's the front office job to figure out how we can go get that guy. And we're not that team that does that. We'd say, we can lose 9 starters, we'll fill it up with the draft. It doesn't work.
Do you give him an extension, yay or nay?
I think you do.
All right.
Because
how many wins?
Here's the thing I look at right now, okay? You can look at other teams right now that are losing and not having any success, and they start turning against the coach. Say what you will about the Cowboys, they are playing hard, trying to win right now. That means the coach has their support. And I think that you look at that and say, yeah, that should go a long ways with what you have. And if you're Dak Prescott, you don't necessarily want to change the system that you're in, that you're comfortable with. You figure, I've only got a few more years left. I really want to win a Super Bowl. If I can get Jerry Jones to go in and buy in and say, let's spend that $100 million we're going to have next year on some free agents and keep some cohesiveness, maybe you got a chance.
How about this, Philly? Brian Westbrook was just on, and he didn't give Nick Sirianni a gigantic ringing endorsement. He says, look, he's been able to stay out of the way since the bye. He gives him kudos for that. He goes, if he makes another bonehead decision in Carolina, then we'll have another conversation about it. And I'm paraphrasing what he said, but, I asked him, why is it so that half of Philly loves him, half of Philly hates him? Here's a guy with a 44-19 record with an NFC championship. And this weekend, most likely, the Eagles are going to punch their ticket to the postseason for the 4th time under him. Why is half the fan base still to this day want this guy fired and do not trust this guy? Do you trust this guy?
Oh, boy. I have to concur with Brian Westbrook. I kind of on the fence. If I'm being honest, I don't trust him in certain situations.
Philly, it's impressive, though. Do you agree? 44-19.
It is, and that's why I always feel bad when I have to say anything negative to him because they've won so much. But Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl, and I didn't think I didn't think he was the greatest coach that year. I'll put it that way. So I feel like he's really, really talented team they have. And I don't want to say Nick has done a horrible job. He hasn't. There's just certain situations that like certain calls, I just don't understand what he's doing. And I think it's fair to criticize him when he makes a boneheaded call. I think that the fans that protect him, he's won and he's taken your team to a Super Bowl. So I understand their perspective. But some of the calls, there's just been calls that are just so
in the last game
atrocious.
In the last game, there were some suspect calls that he had. That the team was Barkley's so dominant that it's kind of hiding it a little bit. And you're 44-19. All right, finally here for you, Mark. This weekend, you guys have got a big one here. You've got Cincinnati. This is a game here. You're going to be going. By the way, Joe Burrow is having an iconic season.
Incredible.
He may throw for 50 touchdowns. The Eagles shut that guy down after the first drive and did a really nice job on Jamar Chase and also on Joe Burrow after the first drive. You guys got a pass rush. You're getting some people back defensively. Do you take this game home? Because this is it. You don't win this game.
Then it's
the
over.
Opportunity at the playoffs, it's over.
This is do or die. We've had such a struggle at home. I'm not ready to go ahead and say we're back because we beat the Giants. Our offensive line played better, against Dexter Lawrence and everything else. It's going to be tough. But you know what? Again, maybe, just maybe, the football gods say, yeah, you get a win.
That'd be 6-7 heading in to the Buccaneer game, I believe. So, all right, Philly, 13-point favorites. How do you fight off coming off the game against Carolina or against the Ravens, not playing down to your competition, which they haven't? I don't think after the first 4 games, I think they kind of wobbled in that aspect. I don't think they have since they came out of the bye. But Carolina does nothing well.
No.
There is nothing. they've played better over the last 4 weeks. They've done nothing well. How do you fight off not getting complacent? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think you got Pittsburgh on the other side of this, where you got the Steelers who are still fighting in the AFC to get home field advantage themselves. How do you fight complacency going into this?
I mean, I would say start by running the ball early. I mean, let's get Barkley involved early, because Barkley at 70% is going to be better than anybody that the Panthers throw out there. But I also think a lot of it, this game on Thursday, the Packers and the Lions,
huge.
This is humongous for the Eagles, because the Eagles specifically need for tiebreaker for Green Bay to beat the Lions for winning percentage against common opponents, or whatever it's called. So if let's say the Packers win, I mean, the Eagles could take the number 1 seed. I mean, I would think that they would be pretty fired up for that. I'm not really worried about them taking this team lightly. Like you said, they haven't done that. And that's one of the things about Nick Sirianni you got to give him credit for. I think he always has these guys ready to go and ready to play. So I think it'll be fine.
But by the way, I know the Cowboys are in a bye. Their next game is on the 9th. Am I right, Mark? They play on the 9th, the next game?
Yeah, they play Monday night.
Monday night.
It's not really a bye. I mean, we played Thursday, so
yeah. I got
yeah.
That's right. You had that Thanksgiving. You had that Thanksgiving deal. That's right. All right, guys. I can't thank you enough, man. I mean,
thank you, my man.
Hey, Philly, 15-2.
Why not? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think there's anybody on the schedule that really worries me. I think they should be able to run through it. Now, I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to say that bragging, but if the Eagles are ready and take care of business, I think they win. I think they can win every game. So yeah, there's a chance.
There you go, Mark. 15-2. How's that taste? Hey, do you two guys have any bets at the end of the year here? Did you make any bets whatsoever
between each other? No.
Yeah.
No. I don't think we did this year. No.
God,
no.
You're
Mark
lucky,
got off
Bill.
the hook. Mark is very lucky.
Hey,
no,
you got that shit right.
You bet, guys. Thank you guys so much. Make
thank
sure
you
check them out on BetUS as well. Thank you guys again. We appreciate it. Make sure you check out their fabulous channels. Good luck this weekend, Mark. I hope you win,
We're
man.
We're going to need it.
Make it interesting, at least heading into that next Cowboy game. I appreciate it. Thank you, Philly. Thanks a lot, brother.
Thank you, my man. Peace.
You got it. All right. Guys, real cool. Make sure you please hit the like button. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS. We have teamed up with our friends at BetUS here at JAKIB Sports. Make sure you go right now to the website. And don't forget the YouTube 150 Bad Dogs. That's right. Your first deposit up to $2K, you get an opportunity to have a sign-up bonus. And the next, second, and third go to 125%. As simple as that. Go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7. Personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major games. betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily.